What's going on YouTube? So today's video, we have our very first speaker comparison video between this Tribit Stormbox Lava that just came out, as well as the Boom 2 that just came out last year. We're gonna go through everything you need to know. We're gonna make sure every question gets answered. Let's jump into the video. We're gonna go start off with the Boom 2. The Boom 2 has a 2.1 channel surround sound. This does have 80 watts of power peak output. It's a standard 60 watt, and then when you press up the bass up, it goes to 80 watts. If we break that down for the actual drivers, it's a 50 watt racetrack subwoofer plus two 15 watt silk tweeters. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Tribit Stormbox Lava. The Tribit Stormbox Lava is an 80 watt speaker, and if we break down for those drivers, it is a dual 30 watt nittium magnet woofer. So there's two subwoofers in this, plus a dual 10 watt silk dome tweeters. It has a 2 subwoofer output as well as a 2 tweeter driver output. So that gives you a 2+2 channel setup, able to give you a better immersive sound when it comes to the speaker itself. I didn't notice it at first, but listening to it a lot more in depth and truly focusing on the speaker itself and going back and forth between these two speakers, I noticed that it is way more open and it is way more immersive in that fact. It's not like surround sound, but it is way better than typical 2.1 or any other speaker out there. And the audio codec that this actually does have is a standard SBC audio, and the frequency on this is 45 Hertz. So that's for the bass response on the speaker itself. This also does have IPX7, whereas the Lava has an IP67 waterproof rating, which is a slightly higher grade rating for the tech field. It basically has an additional dustproof protection. It does have a 24-hour battery life, so very exactly the same when it comes to battery life on this. No issues whatsoever when it comes to battery. And it also has Bluetooth 5.3 version, which gives you 100 meters of working distance for transmission. But this has Bluetooth 5.4, so that's pretty cool. You're on the latest and the greatest when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity. And it does have RGB, something that the Lava I was expecting to have, since, you know, a lot of Tribit's products were starting to have more RGB, but I was expecting a little subtle ring around for the passive radiators. This also does come in a black, blue, and green colorway, whereas the Tribit does not have any color options right now. I did speak with the company, and supposedly they should be getting more colors later down in the road. And this also does have a Party Cast 2.0 function, which is a game changer. This is why I love Soundcore so much, to be able to have a family of different speakers from their product lineup, to be able to connect all of them on a single phone and play music from multiple speakers, up to 100 plus speakers. That's game changer. That's like what makes it super unique as well. This also does have the TWS function, so you don't have to, you know, plug a bunch of those speakers in. You could just do TWS and you'll be good on, you know, 2 speakers. This also does act as a power bank, so you can use this to charge your phone on the go and as an emergency or whatever you want, which is really nice. This does charge at 15 watts and it takes about 5.5 hours to fully charge. This also does act as a power bank as well, so you can use the USB-C cable as an in or an out port. This also does have a detachable strap and a detachable handle that you're able to use one or both, and then you're able to, you know, take it on the go or do whatever you need to do, which is really, really helpful. Soundcore does not have that option whatsoever, so just to keep that in perspective. It does have just a handle, but no carry strap. This also does have a TWS and a party mode. After doing a lot of research, I could not find out whether party mode is for specific models or if it's for their whole lineup. I'm assuming it is only for the specific model because I could not get it to work with my Tribit Stormbox Blast 2 that just came out. So, you know, I thought it was going to be able to work together, but it wasn't able to work together. And if it does, then it's extremely confusing because I was trying for like an hour straight and I could not figure it out. When it comes to the Soundcore, I was able to just press one button, have them all connect, and it was super easy. Now this wouldn't be a comparison without talking about the app features that both of these do provide. Let's go to start off with the Tribit app. So the Tribit app is easy to actually add the speaker itself. It has volume control on the very first page, as well as a little diagram of the speaker and battery percentage. On the next page, you do have your preset EQ settings. So you have a total of 6 preset EQs that you can choose from, but you could also make your custom EQ with the 10 equalizer bands that are on the device itself. In the settings, you also have the firmware version, the device name, countdown to shutdown. So you basically have little timers so you can save battery and preserve it. auto shutdown, voice prompt, and then you also have EQ button, which I really love. So you can change option for EQ. So if it was the light off for the bass up version, you can have it be one preset EQ, and you can turn it on and have it be a different EQ set. You could upgrade the firmware version available once, if they have more upgrades available, you can do that. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Soundcore app. Now the Soundcore app is very similar to the Tribit app, except in my opinion, it is a little bit more cleaner. You do have on the front page, you don't have an exact battery percentage, but you have battery indicator status. You have the diagram of the speaker, volume, play pause, bass up button, on and off, so a little toggle switch, and then you have the EQ. So the presets, you only have 4 on the Tribit app, and you can toggle the bass up and down from that version there. It shows you the bass, mid-range, and treble, and it shows you, the graph itself, which I think is really helpful. Custom EQ, you also have 10 bands as well. So pretty much the exact same. However, it does have a full band list that you can check out horizontally that will be able to, make it more accurate and more fitting to how you want it to be. So you can pretty much drag and do whatever you want with them and get more in depth, which that feature is what I really like on the Soundcore. Also the RGB functions, you have a bunch of presets that you're able to change individually. You can change all the colors on them, and there's like 16 million different ones. So it's really nice. You can change the brightness of the actual device itself, turn it on and off completely if you don't want to use it at all. So really good that Soundcore did master this function when it came to the app. As for the settings, it does have a speaker prompt on and off button, so it's just one single button rather than a bunch of different buttons, which I do prefer in a way. That way you can easily toggle it on and off. You also have clipboard permissions, button brightness, which is super helpful. So right here on the top of the device, you can change the button brightness. So right now it's at low, you can do it to medium and high, or you could turn it off completely. You also have an auto power off, so to conserve battery, update firmware, so to show you the firmware version, and that's pretty much it on the Soundcore. So very simple when it comes to both apps. I like both of them. They're very, well optimized because they're very big brands. If you guys made it this far, I really would appreciate if you guys did drop a like on the video. You don't even have to subscribe. It'll mean a lot to me to help push videos just like this out more to the YouTube algorithm. Without further ado, let's just jump back into the video. So with all the on-paper specs out of the way, we pretty much know everything we need to know about these speakers on paper. Let's go and test them out in the real life. So I did a bunch of testings and broke down when certain volumes started to change the speaker, when it comes to better bass, when it starts to kick in for both speakers, when it starts to distort. So I have a minimum of what, people tend to use it at, even at lower volumes, and a maximum of what people would use it at. So when it came to being viably usable at a decent volume, so meaning there is good bass and you don't have to crank it super loud in order to hear or feel the bass. That was at 25% for the Boom 2 and 35% for the Lava. So the Lava had a little bit of a, you still have to crank it up a little more for it to be able to push into the effect for bass. Once you got there, it got really good. So I like that. At 50%, I noticed for the Boom 2, it was not as open. The bass doesn't really kick in still. You can hear it, but you don't feel it at all ever until louder volumes than 50%. Yeah, that's what that was, what I noticed at 50%.
Can't nobody tell me what I can do. Got a plenty aces that life hands you. Feeling like my body understands you. Maybe we could take this all the way. Spend another day chilling, making love. Can't nobody tell me what I can do. Got a plenty aces that life hands you. Feeling like my body understands you. Maybe we could take this all the way. Spend another day chilling, making layers.
Although it's not the last time
sounded good. I noticed the vocals were really good and it just sounded really rich. Obviously these two speakers are super good, so I'm just doing a comparison like that. For the Lava, around 50%. It sounds more open, better bass, and so far no distortion. Both of these speakers still had no distortion. And it also had louder bass and louder vocals. At the 50% mark, I was feeling the bass a lot more, and I was hearing the bass a lot more. So it sounded and felt way better when it came to the Tribit Lava rather than the Soundcore. The Soundcore wasn't really performing as well. When it came to the 80% mark for the Boom 2, that's when I started to notice distortion in the volume, which is typical on a lot of speakers. Pretty much everything after that would just drown out for the bass, drown out for vocals, and it would be unbearable to listen. For the Lava, this one actually surprised me. Around the 75% mark, for my ears especially, it started to distort, and I didn't really like it as much. It wasn't really viable to listen to or to want to listen to. Yes, it got loud, but I could not, for the life of me, continue to listening to it above 75%. So that's where it started to distort. We'll just call it that.
All I want is satisfaction. Make a move, baby, you got nothing to lose. So give me that good reaction. Gonna make it right, little like an offer I can refuse. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe. Loving this devotion. All I want is satisfaction. Make a move, baby, you got nothing to lose. So give me that good reaction. Gonna make it right, little like an offer I can refuse. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life.
For the Soundcore, it kind of steadied like that, but for the Lava, it was started off slow and then went super high and then crashed down again. So it was like a roller coaster effect. Now both of these are around the same price. The Tribit retails for $129.99 at the time of recording. If you're an early bird and you got it for cheaper, you could get it for $100. I hope this does go back to $100 later down in the future when stuff gets cheaper for them. For the Boom 2, it started off at $130, and then eventually once they got the prices down for, you know, the parts and everything, they got it down to $100, and now it's $100. Now let's take a look at the design of these speakers. Should I give it away later in the future? Who knows? But I think that red really does pop. It really does. I like that bright red. I was going to go for a darker one, but now it's a brighter one and it looks good. Anyways, the Tribit has a aux port, which this one does not. So if that's a huge issue for you, then you know which one to go for. This one sounds better. You can use it as your own, desktop speaker if you want to, and then take it where you want to go, traveling or whatever. So with all that being said, both speakers have their ups and downs. Both speakers aren't perfect, and we were able to see what flaws they did have and what these companies can improve on. Some things that I really enjoy on one speaker where the other one doesn't have that, and if it did, then it would be perfect in a sense, but it's just personal preference. These are my personal opinions that I believe, and if you agree, then you agree. If you don't, let me know. Very great speakers overall. If you do have to pick one of them, personally, I like this one for its reasons, and I like this one for its reasons. It's so hard to pick. If you want to buy an ecosystem, basically, and have multiple speakers, if you already have multiple speakers of Soundcore, get this one, because then you can pair them all together. This one is super confusing to pair, so it's more of like I'm not too sure on how to pair this for multiple speakers. I don't even think it has the option to, so I can't even pair this one to the Stormbox Blast 2. I can't even pair it to that. Eventually, Tribit can make it to the pair through all the models. If they can still send out a software update to be able to connect them all together, that would be amazing, because it says it has Party Connect, but it's super confusing and I cannot figure it out for the life of me. So I think it is the same model connection for that one. So without further ado, if you guys want to check out this, both of these are a link in the description down below. I believe the Tribit is still on early bird sale, so I would recommend to check out my discount code. If not, if you're watching this in the future, both of these are really good. Tribit might lower the price eventually, so they'll both be at around $100 even. So at this point, just pick this one or pick that one. It's fully dependent on you, and this is just my opinion. But without further ado, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.